Tomorrow afternoon at MetLife Stadium, Argentina plays Spain in a World Cup final that half the planet thinks they shouldn't have even reached. The Egyptian Football Association filed official complaints. Switzerland's coach is still furious. And somewhere in the middle of it all is a question that won't go away. Is FIFA actually rigging matches to keep Lionel Messi's tournament alive? I spent the last week going through VAR recordings, official complaints, and FIFA's own statements. What I found isn't the story people think they're watching. Let's start with the match that triggered everything. Argentina versus Egypt in the round of 16 on July 7th. Egypt scored first through Mustafa Zico. Except, well, they didn't, because VAR pulled it back. The review determined that Marwan Atia had fouled Argentina's Lisandro Martinez before the ball even reached Zico. Egypt was up 1-0. The crowd was going absolutely mental. And then suddenly the goal just vanished from the scoreboard. Zico scored again later to make it 2-0, so Egypt got their lead back. But that first disallowed goal set the tone for everything that followed. Egypt held that 2-0 lead until the 79th minute. Then, Christian Romero headed one back for Argentina. 4 minutes later, Messi equalized. And 2 minutes into stoppage time, Enzo Fernandez scored the winner. A complete 3-2 comeback in the span of about 15 minutes. On its own, dramatic comebacks happen. That's football. But combined with that earlier VAR decision and the fact this was potentially Messi's last World Cup, people started connecting dots. Egypt's coaching staff certainly did, and they weren't quiet about it. The day after the match, Egypt's coach, Hossam Hassan, didn't hold back. He suggested FIFA wanted Messi to stay in the running. He said Egypt were cheated. The Egyptian Football Association released a statement on July 8th, saying they wouldn't remain silent over what they called improper use of VAR. These weren't anonymous complaints on social media. This was an official football association directly accusing FIFA of manipulating a World Cup knockout match. That's not something you say lightly, because there are actual consequences for making those accusations publicly if you can't back them up. FIFA's refereeing chief, Pierluigi Collina, responded 2 days later in an interview published on FIFA's own website. He said, "Nobody can claim FIFA refereeing can be influenced by anyone, not even by the FIFA president." He specifically addressed the VAR review that disallowed Egypt's first goal, stating, "There's no defined limit regarding either the distance from goal or the amount of time between the incident and the goal." Essentially, his argument was that VAR did exactly what it's designed to do: catch fouls that referees miss in real time, regardless of when they happened in the build-up. Then came the quarterfinal against Switzerland on July 11th. Switzerland's Breel Embolo was sent off in the 72nd minute for a second yellow card, following a VAR review for simulation. Basically, diving. Argentina won 3-1. Now you've got 2 consecutive knockout matches where VAR decisions went against Argentina's opponents at crucial moments. Egypt loses a goal when they're ahead, Switzerland loses a player when the match is still competitive. And Argentina, the defending champions with the most marketable player in the tournament, advances both times. You can see why people are asking questions. So I went through the actual VAR recordings that are publicly available. The foul on Martinez before Egypt's disallowed goal, it's there. Atia's arm catches him across the chest. Is it soft? Yeah, probably. Would it have been called without VAR? Almost certainly not. The Embolo simulation, also there. He goes down without enough contact to justify it. Both decisions are technically correct, according to how the laws of the game are written. And that's where this gets complicated, because the accusations aren't really about whether the calls were wrong. They're about which calls get reviewed and which don't. Here's what I think people are missing. This probably isn't about Argentina specifically. If you watch enough World Cup matches with VAR, you'll notice the inconsistency isn't directional toward one team. It's systemic across the entire tournament. Some matches have 5 or 6 VAR reviews for tiny infractions. Other matches have obvious penalties that never get looked at. The problem isn't that Argentina's getting favorable treatment. It's that nobody knows what will trigger a review and what won't. And when that randomness happens to benefit the team with the biggest global fan base, twice in a row, conspiracy becomes the simpler explanation than incompetence. VAR was supposed to eliminate controversy by adding certainty to refereeing decisions. Instead, it's created a new kind of controversy. Not what happened, but what gets examined in the first place? The technology can only review what the VAR officials choose to flag. And when Kalina says there's no defined limit on how far back you can review build-up play, he's admitting the system has massive interpretive leeway. That discretion, applied inconsistently across dozens of matches and different refereeing crews, is what's making people lose faith. Not in the specific calls, but in the process itself. The Egyptian FA and Switzerland, and probably a few other teams that got knocked out, have a legitimate complaint, but it's not the one they're making publicly. The issue isn't that FIFA rigged matches for Argentina. It's that FIFA implemented a review system without clear, enforceable standards for when that system gets activated. Every referee crew is essentially making it up as they go, interpreting the same rules differently, and then we're all surprised when the outcomes look suspicious. Kalina can defend the integrity of individual officials all he wants, but integrity without consistency is just noise. So tomorrow, Spain and Argentina play for the World Cup, and no matter who wins, the controversy isn't going away. If Argentina wins, it'll fuel another 4 years of conspiracy theories. If Spain wins, people will say it proves the system works because the supposed bias didn't determine the outcome, which is insane logic, but that's where we are. FIFA will probably commission a review of VAR protocols. They'll release a report with recommendations. Some minor adjustments will get made. And then, in 4 years, at the next World Cup, we'll have this exact same conversation with different team names. The thing that frustrates me most about this whole situation is that VAR could actually work. The technology's fine, but FIFA introduced a system that requires human judgment at multiple decision points, gave different crews different interpretations of when to intervene, and then acted shocked when people questioned the results. Egypt and Switzerland aren't wrong to be angry. They just can't prove the thing they're actually angry about, which is structural inconsistency, so they default to claiming bias instead. FIFA wins either way, because bias is easier to deny than systematic incompetence. That's what's actually worse than rigging. A system broken enough that rigging becomes the more believable explanation.